What's good with you people? It's your boy Tella Skillz and welcome to Tru Sessions. Today I'll be going over my track entitled Family. It's available on all streaming platforms, so please take a listen, download it. Thank you for the support in advance. Today I'll be talking about all of the many problems that I had to overcome to get this track out and what I feel still hasn't been corrected. So without further ado, let's get into what you came to view. So before we get into today's session, I wanted to take a second out to tell you what the track's about. It's entitled Family, and once again, it's available on all streaming platforms, so please stream, listen, download. Thank you for the support in advance. Family. For me, this track tells both sides of my story. Growing up, I grew up with the family that adopted me, and later in life, I found my birth family. So it was important to me to do a track like this to, one, tell a story of my uncles and my grandmother's great cooking, and just us getting together and just certain things that I remember from my childhood. And I also felt it was super important to pay homage to my actual birth family that I got reunited with later in life. I was searching for them for about 20 years, and after a long search, I was able to find them. So we're in the stages of making up for lost time, and I'm always having get-togethers. I have a 7-bedroom house, so I have a space over here for everyone to get together, and if you don't want to see somebody, you probably won't see them. So it's just a good dwelling, and I was blessed to be able to have this space, and I'm taking advantage of finding my family, and I have a very large family. And us not being together growing up, I felt like it was so many memories that we missed out on. And in the second verse of the actual track Family, I'm explaining some of those things. Like, I love my nieces to death. I always try to get them things if at all possible. I made reference to one of my brothers. You know, he's going through certain situations, and I just wanted to make it clear, like, if you need a place to, stay, I got space. Just little things like that that make this track a very personal track to me. Also, it made my sister cry. So it was super dope to see that side of her. I really don't get a chance to see how my music actually impacts people upon the first listen. Most of the time when I come across people, they've already listened to the music, so they're set in their emotions. But it's very rare that I get a chance to see what my emotion provoking music does to people, and it hit the nail on the head. So I was extremely excited about that. Family, that is the name of the track. Stream it, download it on all streaming platforms, wherever you listen to your music at. Type in Tru Skillz and go ahead and listen to it. I'm pretty sure you could relate to something in the song. It might touch your heart. You might hear a story or a scenario that might bring back a memory or two. That's the goal for this. And if not, it's still some great music that you could just listen to and enjoy. And with that being said, let's get into today's session. All right, we are here. Now, people, when I tell you, this track, I had to fight with this track so much. And normally I don't have to. But the reason that I had to fight with this track so much, and this is Tru Sessions, I'm going to keep it real with y'all. I moved my mic around to find the best position in my booth. So essentially, my booth is the size of a bedroom. And all that's in there, it's some furniture in there to absorb the sound. But at the time when I recorded this, I didn't have that furniture in there. So it was more of a hollowed space. And I didn't really pay attention to that when I recorded it. So what ended up happening is I had this roomy sound, this sort of room echo that I didn't like, and it's not a reverb. And when I mixed this song the first few times, and this is part of the reason why this song came out late for people who are keeping track of my releases, I couldn't get it sounding how I wanted it. I tried everything, and I ended up calling a friend of mine and got some advice about the EQ settings and something that I should take out, because I had a vocal exciter on one of my vocal chains and it was unnecessary. It was just boosting my voice to levels of distortion. And I couldn't figure out why it was sounding so distorted and roomy. So that's an effect that was unneeded. And as you can see, this is like the hollow path for it right here. It's like nothing there anymore. Took that out, got rid of it on everything that I didn't need it on. And it sounded better, but then I had this low end. It's kind of hard to explain if you don't mix music. But if you mix music, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And that roomy sound, that's very unnecessary. And it was because I didn't have my mic placed at the right position. I was still testing things out, trying to find the right vibe, set things up how I wanted it. So what I ended up doing is I ended up boosting some highs a tad bit more and cutting out that actual low frequency, low to mid frequency that was actually giving me that roomy sound. I cut that out. Normally, I only use my high pass filter to around a frequency of 90 hertz. But on this particular song, it has so much room in the background that I needed to cut out more. So I raised it up to about 101 hertz of roll off on the back end. So that way I don't hear any of the unnecessary room. This is where all of that roomy noise is right around in this area. So I got rid of all of it, heard a little bit more. I brought it down. My low to mid frequency, I brought that down a little bit, as you can see, about negative 4 dB. 3.9, it could go to 4, but for some reason I like that sweet spot. A 0.dB, sometimes it doesn't matter, but those points add up to a whole dB, so keep that in mind as well. Like they say, pennies add up to dollars. Same thing here. So after cutting that out, I came with a sound that was more pleasing to me. So let's listen to it now.
Growing up, I ain't have it all, but I had enough. Ain't nothing missing when your family's showing up. There they go. Uncle Fred and Aunt Debbie at it again, arguing over nothing in front of family and friends. But we pretend like it's nothing. Gotta continue this function, cause Mama got something fresh in the oven. What y'all tripping for? Uncle Douglas just came from the liquor store. Now he gotta go back, cause Uncle Ronnie drinking more. A child perspective of painting pictures that I remember. Growing up in the church and turning into a sinner. My mama told me it'd be days like this. My father showed me keep your eyes on the grip. So now I reminisce. Reminisce on the...
So as you can see, I muted the ad-libs and the double-ups just so you can hear that solid voice a little bit better. But my double-ups are so far in the background, you could barely hear them. I recorded them, so I did want them in the mix. Do they have to be there? Not at all. I kind of wanted this to sound like a single voice after I started going through the mixing process. So initially, when I recorded it, I wanted it to be this full-bodied song with the double-ups real pronounced. But after going through a couple of passes of trying to get the sound right, I landed on a single solid voice. My double-ups extremely far in the background. And my ad-libs, I matched the actual same level of my ad-libs for my main vocal. And every once in a while, I'll squash something. It's just like, in the first verse, I didn't do it at all. But in the second verse, I squashed right here. I turned this particular effect down because it was clashing with my actual vocal. But I do my ad-libs in a way that they fall in between my words, and I try to stick to that. That's like my secret sauce. I know everybody does their ad-libs different. So that way I'm not competing with my vocals. Even if I'm recording in someone else's studio and they leave the ad-libs at the same level as the main vocal, at least I drop my ad-libs in a pattern to where it's not clashing with the main vocal. So after going through all of those things, like I said, my biggest problem with this track that I had to overcome was the fact that I didn't have my booth properly treated at the time. I was able to overcome that with my EQ. And that's something that you could keep in mind as well, because I know everyone's not going to have a recording booth or a soundproof space to record their vocals. It's nothing to worry about. If you can understand what compression and EQ does, I would say in most cases, in more than half of the cases, you'll be able to tighten up your vocal to a level to where it's solid and you can't tell it wasn't recorded in a proper space. For the background noises, you're going to have to put a gate on it somehow. You're going to have to get the background noises out. I'm in the booth. I don't have background noises. One thing that I did want to show you guys, an effect that I really wanted to show you guys, is this right here. This mic mod effect right here is so dope to me. I had to buy this plugin. It didn't come with Pro Tools, but this plugin, if you don't know, different mics give different sounds. So just because you have a microphone, you might be wondering, well, why doesn't my microphone sound like the Yo Gotti or Moneybagg Yo or Rick Ross or anybody like that? They're ribbon mics, they're condenser mics. There's so many different types of mics. I record on a condenser mic, but this plugin right here, I have a Rode mic, and it is a great mic, very expensive. But my dream mic is the Sony C800. That's like my dream microphone. For all audio engineers, they know exactly what I mean by this is the top of the line, one of the best microphones. The problem is you can find it for around 10,000, but normally they sell for 16,000. So it's not a cheap microphone, but that is why it's one of the best. Nonetheless, if you have a good condenser mic and you have this plug-in, it'll mimic the sound of that expensive mic that you are dreaming about. And it just doesn't have the Sonys. It has every single microphone made recently. Even my Rode is in here. So I just went down to the Sony, went to the one that I love the most, and it mimics that sound. As clear as I can tell, it sounds just like that mic from what I can tell. You know, until I save up my money and get the actual Sony mic, this is as close as I'm getting. But I wanted to show you that in case you're an engineer and you have a good mic already, but you're looking at a certain mic and it may be in that 5-figure range and you might not have the 5 figures laying around, get this plugin right here and it will definitely mimic the sound of the mic. And you could change everything. You could change it from being a Cordio to an Omni mic. You can also change the proximity in case you need it to sound closer. It comes with tube saturation. That's also amazing. Most of the times, because I record right in that sweet spot, when I tend to mess with the proximity, it sometimes distorts. It may not be that way for you, but definitely check out this mic mod effects. If you can, it'll change your life.
Hello? Hey, what's up, V? Hey, V, is Nate showing up? Hell yeah. Hey, man, tell Thomas and Xavier and Tim they gotta pull up this time. Growing up, I ain't have it all, but I had enough. Ain't nothing missing when your family's showing up. There they go. Uncle Fred and Aunt Debbie at it again, arguing over nothing in front of family and friends. But we pretend like it's nothing. Gotta continue this function, cause Mama got something fresh in the oven. What y'all tripping for? Uncle Douglas just came from the liquor store. Now he gotta go back, cause Uncle Ronnie drinking more. A child perspective of painting pictures that I remember. Growing up in the church and turning into a sinner. My mama told me it'd be days like this. My father showed me keep your eyes on the grip. So now I reminisce.
And there you have it, people. That is my track entitled Family, available on all streaming platforms. I go by the name of Tella Young Skillz. You've been tuned in to Tru Sessions. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the support. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And until we meet again, stay safe and be blessed. I'll see you on the next episode, people. Peace.
Growing up, I ain't have it all, but I had enough. Ain't nothing missing when your family's showing up.